Call the cops on me. On a mission to be champs and stay let me free. Prepare for combat, my adversaries crumble. Face it, I got a reputation for damage. Busters get ready to rumble. They lock me in a cell, have me trapped in a living hell. Though not guilty, I'm still in jail. Brother, I serve my time like a soldier. Maintain composure. My shadow boxing the fight to the death, busting boulders. Every boxer with a pair of gloves. Best give up love. Here's a man from the makings of a thug. A lethal weapon, mind sharp. And in my heart, there's a wish to shake the world with the flurry of my black fist. Now once a high school dropout, now I'm the $1 million champ. Who's the next to get knocked out? Straight out of Brooklyn and worldwide.
Good afternoon, evening, or whatever you want to call it, ladies and gentlemen. Cheap Seats Boxing is in the building, half of the dynamic duo, and this is all my fault, okay? My fault. So, what happened was, we were supposed to do a show yesterday, and I ran too late, and Angelo wanted to make sure he watched the World Series. So, I was late, and I was supposed to do the show last night anyways, but I ran into some issues. So, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. And I also wanted to hate on the Astros, and I was hoping that they lost to the Dodgers, so maybe I could go to like Minute Maid Park and like crip walk in the Dodgers uniform just to hate in Houston. But that didn't really work out, so congratulations to the Astros. And I know Angelo's like, shut your punk ass up. I understand, but I'm a hater. Now, what we're going to talk about is boxing. First and foremost, two fights. One, of course, was the major fight with Joshua versus Takam. Yeah, he beat him up most of the fight. Yeah. I know this. Everybody knows this. But to me, that stoppage was way too early. Just in my opinion. Just in my personal opinion. Okay? I think that was like a little too much home cooking. I think they could have respected him more than that. And I'm going to get into that type of scenario a little bit later into this broadcast. So the next fight was Dillian White won. I already forgot who he fought. But he won a unanimous decision. I don't really think this puts him anywhere in the mix, though. That's my issue. Like, maybe with Joseph Parker. Maybe. But as far as fighting Joshua or Wilder, I don't think so. I just don't think so. I hate to say that because he already had his opportunity, and there's other fights that can be made, and the way that the business seems to be going, it's not cool. Now, I'm going to preview. There's some fights going on. One tonight, with the main event being Soto Corrales versus Juan Abreu tonight in Arizona. So he's the headline on that card. Probably is going to be interesting because everybody's a Soto Corrales fan. It doesn't really matter who you are. There's another card in Kissimmee tomorrow, Florida, on Telemundo. Sammy Valentin versus Alejandro Barbosa, which is the headliner. My personal opinion, I would want to see Falcoa versus Fandino, because I think that's an interesting fight because I just like Falcoa. He's an underrated dark horse in my opinion. He'll be there though. Russia on the same day, Ricardo Mayorga's fighting with Sorokin. 12 rounds in Russia. I would assume that Mayorga is not going to get the benefit of the doubt if this goes the distance. That's just in my opinion. It's a lot of home cooking going on in boxing, so you just got to take it for what it is. Another card in Studio City, California. Main event, Steven Pichardo versus Donis Reed in the 4-rounder. So it's like early on. Now, the 4th is where everything goes down, right? So how about, and this is a super long card, which is the crazy part about it. How about, I'm going to go from not the bottom, but Dominique Brazil versus Eric Molina in a 12-round WBC heavyweight eliminator. I don't know how to take that because I don't think the winner of this fight is going to be fighting Deontay Wilder anytime soon. So they can eliminate one fighter, but I don't see Wilder. He's fighting his mandatory now after he didn't really want to fight his mandatory. And I can understand the not fighting Stiverne part, but because he wanted to fight other champions, but I don't see these other contenders actually getting a shot anytime in the near future. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But, I mean, Brazil, he has his good things. He has his bad things. Molina, he has his good things and his bad things. I think, to me, it could be a 50-50 fight. It's just about momentum. Like, I will go with whoever can keep the momentum. I think Brazil's a good fighter, but I think you can break his momentum and his ability from time to time, and you can wind up winning. So I'll probably take Molina in this one, just to be honest. I know it sounds weird, but I'll probably take Molina in this one. Sergey Lepidus versus Akihiro Kondo for the vacant IBF welterweight title. Yeah, man. If this is a damn Japanese name and we got Lepidus fighting, I don't know who to take. Because we already tell you these Japanese fighters are tough cookies. So you would think Sergey has advantage by name, but these Japanese guys are tough, man. So you never know. He could actually just sneak in there and steal that from him right there. Now the two more important fights will be Sean Porter versus Adrian Granados, 12-round WBC welterweight title eliminator. I would take Porter in this fight, hands down. I think, you got to think about the competitive part of it. I think Porter's the better fighter. I think Granados is tough, but I think when you look at the caliber fighter the caliber of fighters that Sean Porter's beaten and the caliber of fighters that Sean Porter has given trouble, Granados doesn't strike me as a person, even though he's tough, as a person who can beat Porter. But he's tough, though. Like, you got to give him that. The one thing, that always could be used in his advantage is sometimes Sean Porter smothers his own work. But he will go into a string where he actually puts enough pressure on it and builds a momentum of connecting. So Granados has got to take advantage of the moments that he gets smothered, or that Sean Porter smothers himself, should I say. And just do his best. Like, you never know. Like, Sean Porter's been knocked down. Sean Porter's been hurt. So it's not like he can't get hurt, and it's not like he can't get knocked down. The problem is he gets up, and being hurt doesn't stop him. So, I mean, I would actually pick Porter in the stoppage in this fight. Plus he had to take leave for the family thing in the last fight. So he might be when him and his father step to the ring and step to get into the ring, they mean business. And I don't think what happened previously is going to affect him in any way in this ring now. Now, the main event. Ladies and gentlemen, the main event will be Wilder versus Stiverne. Now, in my opinion, I would give Wilder all the advantages. Because of power, because of the layoff, because he's probably in better shape, and he's already beaten Stiverne. Now, Stiverne went off today. Like, he really went off today. Not really went off like off, but the thing about it is he says, he was not at his best when they fought the last time, and now he's going to be on his ass. And that's what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say you're going to be on your opponent's ass. The thing that bothers me about Stiverne is his feet. Not his toughness, not his power, not his ability, because he's been a world champion, but his feet. Like, Wilder is lighter on his feet, so the amount of wear and tear he's gonna have to take to land his shot is like when Foreman became champion again in his 40s. He knew he had to take punishment before he is going to be able to get his shot or shoot his shot. So I think Stiverne is in that same boat. And I think that's an advantage to Wilder because he has the power. He also has had a layoff because of his health in his hands. And he could, I don't want to put this on anybody. He could break his hand again. But the problem with Wilder is he will knock you out with a broken hand. He don't care. He's broken his hands numerous times. He doesn't care. Like, oh, it's broke. Well, I'm gonna knock him out anyway. That's just like motivation for him. I got to get him out of here quicker because I can't fight all night with a broken hand. So that's the problem. But I think because of the broken hand and not necessarily the hand, but more so the tricep, or is it the bicep? I think he's gonna do what he did in the first fight because we weren't expecting his boxing ability. And if you watch Deontay Wilder, if you watch him over the past couple of years, he's gotten better. Like he can actually sit behind that jab if he wants to. He could Klitschko you out if he wants to. He could Lennox Lewis you out if he wants to. And I remember there's a clip of him years back. I don't know where it was, but it was at night and they were like at an apartment complex in a parking lot. And Lennox Lewis was giving him tips on the jab, and he, in the way Lennox Lewis is a huge guy, and Deontay Wilder is about the same height, maybe even taller, but the way he did it, he had like that old British movie stance where he had like his lead hand out far, but he could do that because he's so tall and so long that he kind of cheated with the jab because of the length that he had to go with his step. And I think because Deontay Wilder's arms are that long, he basically is doing the same thing now, just in his own way. And because he can just lay on that jab and kind of cheat with the distance because his arms are so long and he can lay his hand out so far, because the guys who got to swing for him, they got to actually loop around or jump to him. He's going to really start tagging people with that jab. And it sets up a lot of things. I remember the time he knocked out Spilker. He was on that jab a little bit, and he just caught Spilker with a good shot at a good time because he caught him lunging and reaching. And I think, and for future reference, that's going to help him out in his career because he really doesn't. When he starts getting sharper as a puncher, he's not going to have to use all of that power that he was knock out people. He could just bow, just with the speed of it and just flatten people. So that's just my opinion. Now I want to talk about something that was going on and put that in the context of the fights that just happened and talk about some of these future fights that's about to happen also. But when it comes to Wilder being the boogeyman, I got to give it to him now. I really do. Because of the Joshua fight, you had the kind of flip-flopping between Hearn and Joshua about Joshua says he's going to need a little time. Hearn's like, we're ready or whatever. And that inconsistency is a problem. And I'm going to tell you why. For Joshua, when you're the champion, you have the bullseye on your back. You don't get the time to get ready for an opponent. All the opponents are getting ready for you. So the minute you take that stance, you got to be careful because you put yourself in a position where champ really don't want to fight. And that to me is a major psychological advantage you gave Wilder. And that's why I said you got to give him that boogeyman part of it. Also, with the other steroid things and all that other stuff. Now, beyond that part, I want to speak about like Stiverne going off in the press conference. And he was like, look, this is where you made a mistake. I'm not mad at you, though. I get it. It ain't my business. You're a grown man. Do your thing. You told this man that you would kill him if you had to get that belt. And you would do it and walk off with a smile on your face. You haven't hurt him, though. He's hurt you. So the problem with that is there are some people in life who you probably shouldn't say that to. And I don't think Deontay Wilder one of the guys you should say that to. Because he knows he hurts people. He knows he could do major damage to people. And he's seen himself do it over and over and over again. And not to say Stiverne doesn't pack a punch, because he has a tremendous knockout ratio. Let's get that real clear. He got power, just like Wilder has power. But it's not the same. Now, you could say Deontay's chin has always been looked at as suspect. That's understood. But I have to say there's a difference in the way Wilder knocks out people than anybody else. When he knocks out people, it's scary. It's not like, ooh, he rocked the guy, he's down, he's going to get up. No, it's, man, stay down. And even if you're the guys that try to get up can't get up. So... And nobody is like, but to Stiverne's credit, he did get up. He did get up before. He did. So he's like, I tasted your best. I don't know if that was his best, though. That's the problem. Now, the other thing about that press conference was the idea. When the trash talking started, I guess that was Wilder's brothers and family came up, and Deontay was like, "Go on, get back." I understand that family and camps beef when the fighters beef, but don't ever do that again. Don't ever get on stage and get in the middle of the fighters promoting the fight because you feel like it can go down at any moment. That's not your position. You're actually making. I'm glad y'all backed off, but y'all are actually making it look bad. You remember recently who was the guy? The Arab guy, or was he Russian? When he was going off as a promoter and lost his mind and was telling guys to be quiet and shut up and stop making fun of him, and he made it completely about him. Was that Lomachenko's people? Might have been. That was just a completely bad look. Don't recreate that. Don't do that. If the two fighters want to get into a brawl in historic boxing promotions, that never hurt. Ali got into it with people. Tyson got into it with people. You name it. I think Judah, Mayweather, like people have gotten into it at press conference. I don't think Mick Floyd got into it with people. Mayorga, people have done things that make you go, oh yeah, this is gonna be a fight. These guys hate each other. Vargas and De La Hoya. You have to really, really let the fighters do it, because you make yourself look stupid when you do that. Now, I have to speak on this early stoppage part, because I started thinking about, and we spoke about this before, with the new age of refereeing. You got referees that stop fights because, fighters have died or have had brain damage, and you want to protect the fighter, and there have been early stoppages because of that. And you really can't get mad at it, because we've seen how bad it can get. You want these guys to at least go home to their families and live to fight another day. But then there are stoppages that people will say, this guy had the home field advantage, so the minute he hit a guy 3 times in a row, it's over. And you don't really like that as a fan, because it cheapens the sport. And people are starting to differentiate the difference. And when they do that, you're looking at a society of boxing fans like, I'm not feeling this, yo. I'm really not feeling this, because now you're taking it out of the fighter's hands. And especially like with the heavyweight fights, a heavyweight fight is one punch away from being a win for the other fighter, no matter how down a person is on the scorecards. You know, it's a difference between like cuts, you know, broken noses, blood and all that, or when a ref says, look, man, I don't like the way you're competing, so I'm going to stop this fight. You know, that's the difference. And the fans, you know, and also the fighters, because when a fighter's getting dominated or getting beaten, sometimes these refs are jumping in and just stopping it because they're like, this guy, he ain't going to do nothing. But sometimes a guy that may be losing and and doesn't think he can win wants to finish the fight. That's his pride. You know, fighters have done that. You know, you might beat me, but you're not going to finish me. You're not going to knock me out. We're going to go this whole way. And sometimes you got guys who got lucky shots in there and wind up winning fights. But it's getting to a point where, because of watching the history of boxing, we've seen so much inconsistency that there's prestige on both sides of stopping early and letting the fight go, and, you know, that type of thing. And there's casualties of, you know, I stopped it too early and robbed somebody, or I stopped it too late and somebody isn't the same anymore. So, or I didn't stop it late enough, you know. So it's too much inconsistency on that. And I think people need to go back to basics. Because, you know, when fighters are getting beat, their corner will tell them, first, look, you're losing a fight, you're getting beat, show me something or I'm going to throw in the towel. You know, let that happen first. You know, when a ref goes to the corner, you used to hearing the corner man say, look, man, I don't like how it's looking. And the corner man will say, look, trainers will say, look, I'm going to stop this fight before you if I don't like it. And that's a good mix, because the corner says what's going on, the fighter knows what's going on, the ref can see it, and like, look, we got this together. Now, because of these early stoppages, though, it robs a lot of things. Because, and I'm going to talk about robberies and everything else in this episode. You put in a situation where you'll get a fighter like Takam, who, you got to remember, Joshua has been down before. If he's not getting the brakes beat off of him, maybe he can land a hook and it changes the fight. And stuff like that reminds me of thinking about, remember Corrales Castillo? Nowadays, that 10 round would have never happened. Never. Because that fight would have been stopped before that comeback. And for some people, you know, that's the controversy of wins like that. Because you can also say that, man, in that fight, courageous, epic comeback that everybody looks at and praises and cheers as a example of heart and the will not to give up. But a person can say, man, that he cheated, not Corrales, but he cheated Castillo because he was out or he was or out on his feet. He was beating the brakes off of Corrales to the point, let the man fall and see if he can get up. Corrales got up numerous times, you know. But like I said, it's a difference in scenario. You know, sometimes you let fighters finish. Like, you know, people, they gave Timothy Bradley the benefit of the doubt numerous times. He was hurt, rocked. You could see he was out of it, out on his feet, but he kept fighting. And because he kept fighting, they let things go. You know, and which endeared him to the fans. That's what it took to get him endeared to the fans, basically. Then you have fights like, let's use Chavez Taylor. we've talked about that a few times. You got one instance where, hey man, ref ended the fight, like he can't finish, and then you got on the other hand, people say, he couldn't finish those few seconds. You wouldn't let him finish after all he did that night. You wouldn't let him finish those few seconds. You can look at it as a robbery, right? Now the next fight, you can't look at that was just a whipping. Let's just be real. But because of stuff like that, it takes away the TKO ain't what it used to be. And that's the issue. The TKO is not what it used to be. Like, we already have an issue with judging. And we see that basically once a month with fights, where the scorecards come back and people are like, what? And we're seeing that on a regular basis with the bigger fights. Like, the scorecards come back and we're like, what are you looking at? Like, what? Who judging today? And so now everybody's skeptical about the judging of fights, because the bigger the fight or the bigger the fighter, the more home cooking you feel comes from the judges. So now you're blending that's getting weaved into the technical knockout. Because now it's like, does this knockout really count? I mean, it counts as a loss. Like when somebody loses on a card, it's considered a robbery, but it counts as a loss. When somebody loses on a technical knockout, it's considered a knockout, but in some ways some people got robbed. Like, it ain't over. What's the big deal? Now, of course, you got numerous fighters who were getting beat down, and then when a ref waves off the fight, say, "Hey, what ref? What you doing?" Well, you wasn't that coherent when old boy was knocking you upside your head. So, don't snap into reality now, right? But that's the way it goes. And this is why fans like bloody, messy fights with knockouts, because knockouts are the only true definitive thing in boxing. When you knock out a guy, the refs couldn't intervene on that. The judges can't intervene on that. People, corners can't intervene on that. People can't come from the rafters and blow the momentum. You know what I'm saying? Intervene on that and change it. A knockout is a knockout. The only person that can change that is the fighter that got knocked down. Is if they can get up in time, and if they can't, it's in the books. Absolute win. There is no, we need a rematch because this technical knockout in decision culture breeds the atmosphere of rematches. And it does that all of the time because nobody can take people's technical TKOs or their card victories as real victories, because as a fan, you're looking at it like such and such didn't really win that fight. That's when we talk about the gift fights. There are fighters who got gift victories. We talked about Floyd got the gift victory against Castillo. He went back to it though, because if you watch the fight, like when Angelo told me to watch the fight, I was like, yeah, he got beat in that fight. And he was injured, yes, but he got beat that fight. But he got a gift. Like, biggest fighter right now is Canelo. The Canelo has got a few gifts. Oscar got a few gifts. There are plenty of fighters. You people say Sugar Ray Leonard got gifts. Whether it's by decision or the early stoppages. And the same thing with the draw against Triple G. Even a fight with Triple G and Danny Jacobs, you can say that Triple G got a gift. And this is the problem that boxing has created, because people want to make these fights and they want big money and the atmosphere and the event. But some of these events are marred in skepticism, because now when you're seeing two fighters show up, you really don't know what to think. Because if a fighter doesn't get knocked out or completely washed and dominated, you have an issue. And it takes me back to when Roy Jones fought James Toney. And if people remember, it was like the 10th or 11th round. Roy's corner told him, look, you got to keep winning rounds. You don't know how these people are judging. You can't cut it off. No. You don't know what they're giving to somebody. And that's what most fighters need to do. Like, you really need to keep going until the end. It has to be a blowout. You have to be a Bill Belichick type of person. No, I don't care if I won the first 10. I need the last 2. I don't care if I'm up 8, if I'm up 6-4. I need them last 2 to make it 8-4. Because you wind up in the situation like De La Hoya did against Trinidad. Because once you take your foot off the pedal, you lost this round. Because some people are judging by the actual rounds. Some people are judging by momentum. Some people are judging by how the fight played out in the end, and they're like, oh, well, I had this round for this person, but now I see this guy was setting him up, so I'm gonna give him that round. Because that's how it looks when we watching these fights and we watching these decisions, and that's how it looks when we see some of these technical knockouts. The complete culture is changing, and when everybody's on your side, it really changes the dynamic of the decisions you're gonna get. If you're undefeated and you're winning decisions, you're gonna get the decisions. If people like you, you're gonna get calls. You're gonna get people. Oh, he won that one. If people hate you, you might. And even if they don't hate you, if they see you as an underdog, you might have the same issues Winky Wright had. Won numerous fights that he lost. Wasn't cool. Everybody thinks he's got robbed numerous times. But, everybody was comfortable robbing him. So, that's an issue that boxing has. So just for our point of view, or my point of view per se, I want to see how this plays out in the future because, you got this, the Lomachenko Rigo fight coming up. Do people expect a knockout in that fight? No. So who's to say it goes which direction? Remember when Chavez Jr. fought Maravilla? I never forget it because I was at Chula's, which for some of y'all is like a Hispanic version of Hooters. And he got beat like 11 rounds in a row. But people were really there. At great 12th round by Chavez Jr., but people were really standing up like, I wonder, what is this decision going to be? Me personally, I'm like, he lost the fight. Like, yeah, he won the 12th, but he lost the fight. Like, let it go. But because people have been accustomed to watching fights where fighters have been beating the brakes off of other fighters and still have actually lost, it's a possibility. So I think the culture is just completely changing, and it hasn't changed. It's gotten to a point where, we don't trust anything, and I don't think we should. So I'm gonna stop this one here. Thank y'all for always listening and being down. Always hit us up on all our platforms. We on iTunes, Stitcher, rate and review. Please do that for us because it keeps us relevant. And I know we're sporadic right now. We get it, but we're doing our best to always keep giving you content. There's no issue between me and Angelo if people think that we see each other every freaking day. It's just the timing of this since, for a minute has been off, and we're going to get that, squared away. But we got to thank you, because y'all don't understand how you guys actually listening to us and enjoying us and communicating with us and talking to us on Twitter and emailing us and shouting us out and other platforms, sharing it. It really, came a long way as far as doing this. We just had an idea and we went with it. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't still be doing this, because we enjoy doing this, but y'all actually make our day with even as high as y'all have us ranked. So just thank you, and, rate, review, share it, talk to other people. And this is where the fighters fight and the fans commentate. And we do it just like that from the cheap seats, because we ain't buying no tickets, goddamn it. Peace. Yeah, and congratulations to the Astros. I know, I gotta say it. Peace.
Please believe that I'll never be shamed again. Again, I'll be the next heavyweight champion. Call me crazy, but no one can fake